So welcome to the Herkimer Central School District Instructional Technology Support. This is our part 3 of our Google Jamboard virtual training. So far we've covered just the basics of the use and some ideas and templates that I shared with you. And today we're actually going to get into some uses and values and actually play around with some, like this was an actual classroom and we were doing it. So we're going to interact with 7 activities to show some value and use in a hybrid remote classroom and some of the values of it. Keep in mind, this is for if you have some students that are at home or if all students are at home. You might not necessarily use this way if these were students that were sitting in front of your classroom, but you might. You know, there's no saying that you couldn't. Some of the activities that we're going to do today is we're going to do some brainstorming. I'm going to show you some digital posters. We're going to pick and vote. We'll circle and guess, storytelling, and screen recording to describe a process, as well as pros and cons. So let's get into it. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to have to share this Jamboard out with you. And so let me open up my Jamboard that I've created with you. And I believe you should all have the ability to use this because I made it editable. Remember, when you share out a Jamboard, the first thing by default, the Jamboards are only viewable. You have to change it to make sure the kids are editable or can edit. And so you're going to open this up. This is going to open up in a different screen. So you may have to be away from the Google Meet, and that's okay. You should be able to see me exactly as I am working on this screen as well. So don't be afraid to go away and not necessarily look at my face or the screen, because if you open up this Jamboard that I shared with you, you should be able to see it work in conjunction with what we're doing here. So if anybody wants to jump on it, hopefully you got that little message. So tally is on, excellent. And if you're still watching the Google stream, that's cool too. So this first activity is just called a sticky note brainstorming. Maybe we're starting out a topic, or maybe we're talking about something in depth. I like to take my teachers that are with me and apply it to them directly. So Mr. Manager, you're up first. And let's say we're talking about a math problem, like solving a word problem. What's the first step you guys might want to take? Maybe you can throw down some ideas and see who's thinking in the right idea or the right way. So if you're in this sticky note, so Talia, since you're here, we've got a sticky note. Make a sticky note to brainstorm how we can evolve snow days in the future. Knowing what we've done this year, you can come over here and start a sticky note. And you can write in an idea. So I'm going to just click that and save that, and it drops in my sticky note. And you can see that we can make remote teaching. We got leave them as snow days for good mental health and breaks. Yeah, so there's no wrong answers with brainstorming. It's just kind of get everyone to throw out there. Now, the more people you get to work on these boards, the more the slower the program, the more bandwidth is used. So it can sometimes slow down the process. But you'll notice is if somebody starts to mark out and leave a message, you'll see their little picture show up over top of what they write down. So, Mr. Manager, if you wouldn't mind throwing in a sticky note, doesn't matter what's on it, just so we can see that happen live. We'll see that when somebody puts in a sticky note, the person's picture actually gets put above the note that they just added in. Now, if this is happening live, sometimes it's hard to keep track of who's doing it. Depending on your group size, you can assign different colors to different students. So there we go. See Mr. Manager, his little pictures show up over hello, and I can slide it over here, and we can add to our brainstorming session. So there's use and value in getting feedback from people. Maybe they're afraid to say something out loud, or this can add in a little bit of anonymous, because most kids are looking for their own sticky note. I do always have to tell my students that, remember, we want to add things to this world. We don't want to take things away. So only interact with your sticky note. Sometimes kids want to come in here and make their sticky note as big as possible so everybody can see their sticky note. As the moderator, sometimes I can just come in here and change the order and send it to back. So if they want to make their note really large, that's okay. I can do that. Slide it to the back so I can still see other people's notes. And we want to be able to see everybody's notes when we're doing a brainstorming activity. And then what's nice about this is we can take our ideas and we can then spread them into different areas and say, okay, like this is leaving them for a good mental break. So we're going to say anything that says leave snow days alone, we're going to put them down here. Make remote counting, this is a productivity day, so we can move it over to that side, or we could even just change the colors. We could change the colors and say, okay, productivity ones are going to be blue, and then we can eventually see that it turns into an informal voting type of way when you're doing a sticky note brainstorming. So you can not only take ideas, but you can also then split those ideas up into groups, and you can see where the different thought processes are around the classroom. To go to the next slide, you got this little arrow up over here. I can press this down and it'll expand and show me the different slides. So if I wanted to add a frame in here, I could do that. If we needed to go expand on our topic, that's okay. We can add more frames in. Or if I have stuff set up, we can easily do that by just clicking this little button here and moving around. I can also advance my slide by clicking this next frame. Another idea is the digital posters. We could make a bunch of different blank slides and assign a number to each kid and have them create digital posters on different topics or different areas of different topics. I'm on a big Spider-Man kick right now, so I decided to make a digital poster on Spider-Man for you real quick. And it's the reason why I like doing this is because you're not getting hung up on creating the boxes or the fonts or the size. It's really driven by the information. So, I've got Spider-Man was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. His first appearance was in Amazing Fantasy number 15 in August 1962. Just some quick little facts about Spider-Man. And I'm not worried about, I'm using sticky notes in these sections here. I'm using a simple box and text here. I don't have to worry about the text fonts. I'm not worrying about making these crazy colored boxes. It was very easy to slap in photos by doing a Google search for photos. So it makes it really easy and real quick, and you're not worried about the minutia of text and fonts and where all that stuff goes, but it's really just focusing on the information that's available. Talia has a great idea that would be awesome for a jigsaw and a gallery walk for students. Absolutely, because now if we had a bunch of these posters put together, we can slide through and look at it and highlight everyone's different posters and go through it. And so that's just something you can use in class as a digital poster. Mind you, if your kids are in class, they're working on it. If you got a couple kids at home, they're still part of the activity, and everybody can participate. Another one we have here is a pick and vote. We can have kids put sticky notes with their names on it, or they can add their picture to which corner they agree with or what they want to vote on. Being the time of year, I thought, what the heck? Why not pick and vote what your favorite Girl Scout cookie was? And I've got Thin Mint. I don't have all of them, of course. I've got Thin Mints versus Samoas versus Tagalongs versus Do-si-dos. And I can come in here and I can quickly go to my camera and I can insert my picture for my vote. And I'm going to vote for Thin Mints. Mr. Matthew votes Thin Mints. And it's how we can do pick and votes. Or if I want to do a choice, I could do my first choice is Thin Mints, and my second, hold up 2 fingers, and my second choice would be Tagalongs or Do-si-dos. I have already said that I don't like Samoas because I think they're the most expensive cookie, because for the price, you get the least amount in the box. But that's a simple little pick and vote way to represent, have quick votes on things. You can use either the sticky notes or the photos. Photos are nice because you can see who's voting for what. Of course, kids don't always want to do that, so you can just have them put in their name. And now it makes a quick little sticky note to where your vote goes. And then once you see the votes, you can slam them down, and we can see where the class vote would be on a quick pick and vote. This is a quick activity, just a circle and guess. Guess the furthest state Mr. Matthew has traveled to. You can have the kids guessing things by just drawing certain circles and whatnot. And we can come over here and make my fill transparent and make my fill transparent and make my line red if we want to highlight it or make it whatever color. And you would circle and guess which state you think Mr. Matthew has traveled the furthest to. There's a bunch of different ways that you can have pick and votes done. I just thought that would be a fun one. So you can have a picture. I set this picture as a background, so you can't actually do anything to the picture. You can't resize the picture. You can't manipulate the picture without you. Everything will always be on top of the picture because the picture is my background, and did that by clicking set background, doing an image, and Google searching image for the United States of America. And I guess the correct answer would be California. So that's how you do a little circle and guess. If you have map activities, if I was thinking Miss Baker, what state produces the most milk? You have the kids guess what state, and that sparks your conversation in the topic. It gets them involved, has everybody doing a little activity going around. Some kids will be like, I don't know, and they'll see somebody else pick Wisconsin. They're like, yeah, Wisconsin, because they're known for cheese. And it's funny to watch them slide around their answers based on where everybody else is answering. And you can be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, stop, everybody. And then if I wanted to stop, I could quickly change my editing abilities and make it just view, and then therefore they can no longer change their answers. And then you can change back and forth between if you want them to be able to guess and not. Real easy. Again, all I did was take a circle. By default, the circle line is going to be black and the fill is going to be white. So I just made my fill color transparent, and that's how we make a nice circle that you can see through for your guess and check, or for your circle and guess, or square and guess, or whatever, triangle and guess, whatever you want to do. So this is an interesting one that just gets people thinking about things and how everyone knows that a picture tells 1,000 words. This is make a short story based on the photo. So I could have people take the sticky note. It's kind of like a tweet where you are limited to a certain number of characters. And based on this photo, I could have people start to tell a story. And everyone's story is going to be a little bit different based on how their own perceptions and their own views of the world, or what they take in or what they see. Some people might tell the story about the beach. Some people might tell the story about the water. Some people might tell the story about this guy and his dog. But it's just kind of interesting to see perspectives and where people come from. I could use this in math where I could put a problem up and say, tell me how you would solve, in a quick sticky note, tell me your approach to solving this problem. In an elementary school, I might have something, this could be turned into a little I Spy game. I spy with my little eye something that starts with S. And you could have kids start to put in sticky notes that would answer that question. What starts with S? What is in this picture that starts with S? Maybe you're thinking the sand. Maybe I thought the stoplight. Maybe it's the sign. Maybe it's a Honda Sonata. I don't know. Maybe it's skyscraper. There's a bunch of different things that you could do with a 6-word story. Give them a photo, have them tell a story, have them guess something. There's a lot of different games that you could play with this. And again, I like doing this because it shows different perspectives. I set this picture as the background. So as you see, if I try to click on it and move around, nothing happens to the picture. You can't manipulate the picture. But it's real nice for the elementary school kids because you're not worrying about text boxes. They can do sticky notes. It pops it in there. It makes it colorful. I spy with my little eye. Sand, and they would have to identify the sand in the photo. So now I got to take my sticky note and move it. Where's sand? What's sand? And what's really nice too is that you come to find out that not everybody might know what sand is, or where sand is found, or what this is a picture of. You never know. Or some kids know a sign, or that starts with S2. Didn't know that. So that's a fun thing to do, is storytelling based on a photo. This is one that I would use with Screencastify if I was doing this. This is a screen record to describe theory. You can take and start to if I take my laser pointer here and I'm just to describe orographic effect, that's where you have water being picked up by warm air, and it moves over top of the land. And as it starts to move up the land, it starts to cool because rising air expands, expanding air cools to the dew point. I can put in my little clouds here because this is where clouds are going to start to form. And you're going to get rain. And then once it gets over top the mountain, it starts to fall. Falling air contracts. Contracting air then warms up and it's drier. And so this side of the orographic hill is dry. So screen recording to describe a theory is something that you can use in conjunction with your Jamboard because it's really nice to just throw and draw out ideas. If somebody else were to share their story, you could screen record their caption and emotions. And it's just a way that you can use Jamboard in conjunction with another tool to make sure that everybody's getting the value of what you're teaching. So if you're not everybody's there and you can create your video for later on, kids can do that. Last but not least would be quick pros and cons. If we were talking about an idea, maybe we were talking about democracy. What are pros and cons of democracy? Okay, now let's add another slide and talk about the pros and cons of communism. Different ideological ideas. If we were talking about in a classroom with little kids, like pros, that means good things. What are good things about recess time or nap time? What are cons of recess or nap time? What's a con of nap time? None. So you can write out and have kids brainstorm their own pros and cons of an idea, or you can just get really a temperature of rooms for things and talk about ideas with kids, and with everyone being conjunction, you could get an idea that's like, let's say we were taking capitalism. Someone wrote, make tons of money. Okay, and now we can take that sticky note and we can talk about the kids' pros and cons that they wrote out here and go, okay, why is that a pro? Are there some cons to that comment? You know, if you're making tons of money, does that mean you take it away from other people? And like, so you can start to just take other people's ideas and start debates over whether it is actually a pro or a con, and go from that point. So like I said, the value of Jamboard in a hybrid classroom is making sure everyone feels that they're involved and interactive with it, because they don't have to take turns. They can do it at the same time. And then it can lead to other further classroom discussions. And if we wanted to, like I said, we can always come here, and if we get off on a tangent, we want to explore that tangent, we can always make a new slide and just kind of go with it. Keep the kids involved and interactive. And when students are interactive and involved, they're going to learn far more, and they take far more ownership in their learning. I'm going to stop the recording here and take any questions. Like I said, these were just seven things I quickly came up with or researched and found and thought would be useful or valuable. And